start us off with a quick opening statement. Please raise your hands for questions.
This was the third day of good work out there. We actually didn't go in full pads today. Just felt like with a noon kickoff, needed to get our legs back under us a little bit. And being a little bit thin at certain positions, it gives us an opportunity to get Trey some extra work. And obviously this week, Riley Locklear also. So a good chance to evaluate those guys and see where they're at. Our guys continue to work hard. We've got some guys that coming back from a few injuries there, a little banged up, that have been out there, and it's good to see. Seems like we've had really spirited practices, good competition against each other. One guy that has really stuck out to me in the last week of how he's played, how he's competed, going all the way back to the Auburn games. Tim Jordan, a guy that didn't play much at Florida because he had been banged up a little bit, and but when he got his opportunities, he's continued to work hard, played good on special teams, and it's good to see him out there again, kind of getting it going. Tim's a guy that really likes ball and has been a really good practice player for us. So it's good to see that. When you look at Mississippi State, I've said it before, these guys are big, fast, physical, very experienced team, especially on offense with the age that they have on their football team, with the exception of quarterback, depending on who's starting. Every player that starts from is either a junior, redshirt junior, or senior, redshirt senior. So they've been in the program, at least 3 years. So got a lot of age there defensively. They create lots of turnovers. But probably based off their suspensions, probably affects them a little more defensively because some of the players that have been out. But I'm sure those guys will play this week, and that'll give them an opportunity to have their best defense out there. So, they're always tough to block, big, strong, physical guys. We've got to figure out a way to create some explosive plays. Can't turn the ball over, and when we get in the red area, got to score some touchdowns. But with that, I'll take any questions.
David, then Ron.
Jeremy, we saw a little bit of a shuffle when we were out there with the offensive line with Akperogene up there and Ryan Johnson at center. What was going on with that, and was that something that was still going on when you guys were doing team drills?
Well, we've been moving guys around. It's been like that all year because Trey doesn't practice, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We went out there today in spider pads to give him and Riley a little bit of an opportunity there, just to see where they're at. Felt like that's the best thing, So we've had to shuffle guys around. Jerome Carbon's been up there. Brandon Kennedy has had a little bit of a sore knee, so didn't probably take as many reps today as he's taken. So that's all there was to it.
Coach, one of the things you're fond of saying is that when adversity hits, you kind of find out what your guys are made of. Just what have you learned about your guys through these first 5 games in this start?
When going back looking at our football program, from the first day I walked into this building, we're a lot closer today than we were then. I see a bunch of guys that are hungry to have success, are willing to do what it takes to have success. I also see a lot of young guys, right? So when you have a lot of young guys you're looking for somebody to figure out how to do something, okay? Or, I know for me, when I have tough situations that happen in my life, who do I call on? I talk to my mom, I talk to my dad, I talk to people that have wisdom, right? They've kind of been down that road before. So you kind of do that as a football player too. You want to seek out somebody that's kind of been there and done that before. Unfortunately, for a lot of our guys, we just don't have a lot of older guys that have, So our team, is really a young group of guys, So they're kind of searching and trying to figure it out as we go, and kind of finding their way, and we're getting there. It's pretty simple when you look at our record. I've said it before, turning the football over, not getting enough turnovers, and being clean as we play, So that's where we're at. Is it because we lack effort, toughness? No. We lack a little bit of execution. We got to find a way to get there.
Austin, then Eric and Blake.
Coach, can you update us on Warren after watching him today at practice? And then 2, Talk about Alante and maybe the growth he had from maybe an early season stumble to now going into Game 6.
Well, starting he's practicing out there. Warren's a tough kid. He's a competitor. He wants to play. I don't know if he's ready today, but where he was at last Wednesday when the injury happened and where he was at on that Saturday was significant. At least this week he's had an opportunity to take some reps. He may be a guy that we might need to set tomorrow to give him a chance to recover a little bit. Still lacks just a little bit of pushing off that leg. I don't think there's anything with his speed. I think it's a little more change of direction, but he'll have a chance to be ready by Saturday. Alante, he's learning how to be a defensive back. Had an opportunity to play last year, played a lot of football, and at times played really well. Okay, at times he was probably a little lost. Just being new to the position. So, as a guy that works extremely hard every single day, he's gifted athletically. He has the want to, But the one thing about that position is if you ever mess up there, everybody knows, even your mama, So it's not very forgiving. You can mess up at 3 technique, nobody knows. You can mess up at inside backer, very few know. You mess up at corner, the whole world knows, So that's a position you gotta have a short memory and go back and go to work, and I think he's tried to do that.
Eric and then Blake.
Coach, how is Crouch adapting back to the inside, getting some reps at inside linebacker, and do you still plan on using him in his role now, just expanding it a little bit?
No, Q's a guy. He's just a guy to give us a little depth on the inside. One of the things you want to do is be able to get your best 11 players on the field regardless. And he's a guy that is now ready to do both, So there's been lots of years that, maybe with our Sam and Jack and our Mike and Will, if our Will went down, maybe in nickel, our Sam might go play the money spot, which is the wheel in nickel. So, so this is not unusual for us. We've always cross-trained guys that were able to do it. It gives you an opportunity to play the best players.
Blake and then Wes and Corey.
Jeremy, I don't think Brandon Johnson played against Georgia. Are you giving any thought to redshirting him and maybe bringing him back next season?
It's one of the things that me and Brandon talked about. I thought about it early on in fall camp with Jawan, with Marquez and Josh, Palmer, those 3 guys, especially with some of the younger guys, Ced Tillman and Ramel Keaton having some success there in fall camp. We talked about it a little bit as a staff, and then I met with Brandon and his mom and dad, and we've decided to do that. Brandon was playing probably 8 to 12 plays offensively, through the first 4 games. He's a guy that has really good ability, but we have some senior guys there that were probably a little bit ahead of him at the time, and it's something that we've decided to do moving forward.
Wes and Corey.
Jeremy, have you noticed any difference at all in Brian this week after he's gotten a start and kind of maybe not established himself, but gotten some more reps as a starter in games? Have you noticed a difference in him, and when will you be prepared to make an announcement for Saturday for quarterback?
Well, Brian will be the starting quarterback Saturday. I don't think everybody would know that, right? He's a guy that for the second week in a row, we kind of cater the package around him to see what he does well, and I think the longer you do something, the better you get at it. To me, what I see is a guy that seems to have a little more command. One thing that you do as a quarterback, you kind of get caught up in your world. There's lots of things that go on there because the ball goes through your hand. But the guys that really have success are the ones that can still control their world there that goes on with the quarterback and still have an effect on the people on the field at the same time. And the great ones can have an effect on the entire team.
Corey and then Patrick.
Jeremy, I don't remember the exact number, but I think Mississippi State gives up almost 160 yards in the ground. Have you guys taken a look at that as a coaching staff, and has that been a point of emphasis to get the running game going this week?
One thing that we want to try to do every week is figure out a way to have success on the ground. I think it's you want to be able to take what the defense gives you, but it's hard to have success offensively if you can't run the football. And you probably could look every week, the teams that have success running it, it opens up things when they throw the football. If you can't run the football, it's a hard day's work. So we've got to find a way to do that.
Patrick and David.
Jeremy, what kind of player are you guys getting from Wanye and Darnell at the tackle spots, and just how difficult is it for those guys to come in and be freshmen and play in this league like they're having to?
Well, I had a talk today with Wanye about what his goals are, and there's times, both of them, when you watch them play, there's some really good things that they do, but the thing that they both have to focus on is the habits that they create every day. The good Lord blessed them with a lot of ability, but it's what are they going to do with that ability and take it and go to work every single day? What are their goals? Talking about from individual to the last snap of every practice, whether it's on a Monday or whether it's on a Saturday. How do you go to work? How do you work to create the right habits to improve to be at your best all the time? So that's something that they have to decide how good they want to be.
David.
Jeremy, the suspension issue with Mississippi State, what has that been like to prepare for, and how do you feel about the sort of unique way Mississippi State's handled that this year?
David, I didn't know much about the suspensions. I heard about them mainly because Jay Shoop's on our team. He talked to me about it back during fall camp, I think it was. So, but I did not realize exactly how they were handling it until Sunday. So I don't know much about it, but it is an unusual circumstance.
Any other questions? Jordan.
I know it's important to establish the run in every game, but with going with a true freshman quarterback, is there an added emphasis this week to really getting that going?
I think it's every week. You need to be able to run the football. So there's probably been one game that we've really got it going. But if you look at our yards per carry is much improved. We've got to continue to do that. I even thought Saturday there was lots of plays that we created some 7 and 8 yard runs where we came off the football. But we've got to be more consistent. There was a couple of times that we were under center, and we didn't fire off the ball the right way. That starts at the quarterback position. You got to be loud in your cadence, deliberate, so everybody can fire off the ball at the same time. This goes back to details, which as team starts, you start the day with every day. So, but yeah, we definitely need to be able to find a way to create some positive yards in the run game.
Thank you, Coach.